welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix Game Week 1 live stream. My name is FPL Nacho and we are finally at the deadline that we have all been waiting for. It has been such a long anticipation for this deadline, and I think we're all going to be so happy when 6:30 rolls around, when we can just chill out and relax with our teams and accept what we have done is what we have done. So again, guys, my name is FPL Nacho. This is the Fantasy Football Fix channel. We are going to be answering all of your questions going up until that 6:30 deadline. We have just under an hour. We are 59 minutes away from that deadline. So as always, everything's going to be taken from fantasyfootballfix.com. So make sure you check everything out in the bio. Highly recommend it. Get yourself involved for the new season. Get yourself a premium membership. So I'm going to reveal my team, guys. Obviously, a decent season for me last year, finishing 270th in the world. Hopefully, we can beat that this year. It's going to be very, very tough to do so. Going to be looking at some predicted points for the game week 1, and then, of course, some players that we are missing out on that I really think you guys should be considering. Let me know if you're in the chat, guys. Make sure you do drop a like on this live stream. We're always trying to hit 50 likes. If you can get us there early doors, I'd be massively appreciative of that. Arthur, cash plus 1 million spare, or James? I think I would go James, Arthur. I think that Chelsea are looking a bit better now than they were a few weeks back. I think James is a brilliant FPL option, and for that reason, I think he's the route you should go for. 1 million in the bank. I would ask you, what are you going to be doing with that million? If you have a plan in place, then yes, I think there is definitely worthwhile doing so. But I think James is a really solid pick for your team. Jack, should I captain Kane or Son? We're going to be looking at the predicted points in a bit, so that hopefully should help you out on that one there. Zach saying captain Kane, bro. So Zach's trying to help you out on that one there, Jack. And Yanis is saying, Ward and 7.5 million midfielder, or De Gea and Rashi? I would avoid both De Gea and Rashford personally. I don't think it's a route that you should be considering. So on that premise, I think Ward and a 7.5 million midfielder is the route to go for. Clearly, you have a bit of an affiliation with Man United, I imagine, so Sancho does tick that box there. Otherwise, that you come down to a 6.5 million or a 6 million like Martinelli and save yourself some funds to invest elsewhere in your team. Zach said best 5 million defender. Right now, based on our predicted points, I'm going to show you that in a minute. But from a personal perspective, I think Trippier is a great option. I think Walker and I think Zinchenko are good options as well. And we will look at obviously the predicted points in a minute on that one. People saying about Iverson on the bench, Ward on the bench. Yes, I think both are brilliant options. I'm not really too big on the double down on the Leicester goalkeepers. I just don't really rate them defensively, which is quite a controversial thing to say, but they had 7 clean sheets last season. I don't expect them to keep many more if they have lost the likes of Schmeichel in the team, and maybe even Fofana later down the line. It is worth noting. But yes, Sprat's made a really good point. It's something that we have discussed on this channel in pre-season. Ward rotates really well with Sanchez in the goalkeeper department, so it is worth keeping in consideration on that one. So again, guys, keep firing your comments in the chat. I'll be answering as many as I can up until the deadline. But without further ado, let's show my team. Now, for those that tune into live streams in last season, you will know that I am a panic manager. I don't make many decisions up until the deadline. So usually, guys, how long have we had pre-season? We've had about a month or so. I should be locked in with my team. But honestly, guys, I'm one of those managers that just goes with the gut. So I probably won't even make a final conclusion until 2 minutes before the deadline. Not a recommendation for you guys. Honestly, guys, do not do what I do because it isn't a good way of playing FPL. But really, I just let my gut decide where to go. And usually it comes good. So I have a team. It's locked to the best that FPL Nacho can do. But of course, if you do stick around for the live stream, you will know that if you stick around for the last 5 minutes, it is carnage and it's always great fun. So without further ado, let's check out the team that I've got right now. I'll discuss it and I'm going to keep engaging with you guys in the chat, obviously answering all the questions that I can. Let's go. Okay, guys, so here is the team. It's worth noting that we have been changing this team. I feel so sorry for Finn, who has been doing the graphics here for the amount of times I've changed my team. Okay, so quick heads up on the team. Ramsdale in goal at 5 million. I think he's the best 5 million goalkeeper. Again, I'm going to talk about my strategy in a minute. Cancelo, Trent, James, I view them as almost essential in your teams. And then Trippier, I'm going to come back to Trippier because he is a little bit of a worry for me right now. Salah, Diaz, Neto, Martinelli. Of all the things, this has been pretty stuck for the last few days, and I'm pretty happy with that combination in midfield. And Jesus and Haaland up top. Those two have been absolutely locked in for a long time. I just think Haaland right now, I just think he's a phenomenal forward. Man City are a phenomenal team. And I cannot envisage a world where I don't have Haaland at home against Bournemouth. A team where Scott Parker has been talking about how unprepared they are for this season. You know, if a manager's saying that and the players that they haven't brought in, they're struggling to do so, I want a bit of Haaland in that game. And the reason being I don't want to bring in Kane for game week 1 is I don't really like pre-planning transfers 1 game week in advance. So much can happen. Injuries can happen. All this can happen. We need to remember Haaland is a phenomenal striker and he is going to come good. I'm certain of it. And yeah, I think he's a brilliant option for game week 1 and onwards. I think we could hold on to him long term. So, team. I had Perisic previously, it is worth noting, but I'm a little bit worried about his minutes off the back of some of the, you know, stuff on Twitter in the FPL community and the press conferences of Conte. So, I've decided with this team, and it's worth noting, I have 0.5 million in the bank. So I've opted for Trippier right now at 5 million with the combination of Ramsdale. The reason for the 0.5 million in the bank, I view Perisic from game week 3 onwards as a phenomenal option. And I kind of view him to have established himself in the team by game week 3. So having 0.5 million in the bank just kind of makes me think that I could have Trippier for the opening 2 games. I like his 2 fixtures against Forest and I believe against Brighton in game week 2. Then it starts to turn a little for Newcastle. That's when I would look to do a sideways move from Trippier to Perisic. Get my investment in the Spurs assets where I think he is one of the best value defenders in the game. Now, there's a few alterations that I could do with this team. You guys have probably mentioned them in the comments. And this is why I'm flapping a little bit, because there's different combinations. First and foremost, I go premium with Edison and I stick with Trippier. That's a combination because I have it in the bank, but then I'm stuck with that and I don't really want to be stuck with that going into the coming game weeks. Next up, I go for somebody like Sanchez in goal, rotate well with Ward, and then I upgrade Trippier to Diaz. I have the money left in Diaz to then come down to Perisic. I like that move. But again, something about Ramsdale is drawing me to him and I'm not too sure why. Let me know in the chat, guys, what your thoughts are on Ramsdale. I don't know why. But I'm just really invested in him right now as we speak. I think we need to get some sort of involvement in these premium goalkeepers. I think they could be great long-term holds. Midfield, as I mentioned, are locked in and forward. So, guys, this is the team. I want to see what you guys are saying in the chat. Are you roasting me? Are you thinking about me? Let us have a look. We think that sounded a bit weird. Zach Attack, Haaland or Kane, bro. So hopefully that little chat I had previously has helped you out there. I'm personally going for Haaland. I think he's a phenomenal striker. I think he's going to get guaranteed game time up until game week 5 when the European competitions, the cup competitions get integrated into the Premier League. So on that premise, Haaland is for me, but I absolutely have no worries about anybody going with Kane if they want to, because I think he's a phenomenal option for game week 1. Okay. Josh, yes, Nacho, glad to have you back. You saved me last season. Josh, you saved yourself. You're the one who makes the decisions at the end of the day, but hopefully I helped in a small way. Hopefully that was a little bit helpful for you. Next up, Robertson and Neto or Cash and Diaz from Lupe. On that combination there, I'm personally going to recommend you go for Cash and Diaz. Now, the only reason I'm saying that is because I think the 8 million midfielder is really important in the game right now. So on that premise, I'm going to recommend you going for Cash and Diaz. Moon, best 8 million midfielder. We're going to have the predicted points up in a minute, but on my personal opinion, I have it as Diaz number 1, Saka number 2, and then Mason Mount number 3. Mahrez and Foden are phenomenal options. There's no doubts about it. But I just want to see them get up to speed with the Premier League. Foden had a very stop-start pre-season, and I just don't know whether Mahrez is going to get those minutes that I really want to see from him. So we say, will I be number 270th in the world again this year? If I do, then come on now. I got to have some sort of something on the Hall of Fame if that does happen again. UTS, I know what that is. Arful Alam, is Perisic going to play? Okay, so based on the recent press conference, we've got no conclusion whether he is or isn't going to play. It's worth noting. But because of the doubt there right now, I want to get guaranteed game time in my team. And because of that, I think Perisic is a risk. And then if he is a risk for game week 1, do you want him for Chelsea at home away in game week 2? Probably not. So I think you can wait for game week 3 for Perisic. And on that basis, I think going without him is the best move, but that could bite me in the bum. Who knows? Arthur, how important is money in the bank? I don't think it's essential at all. But in a situation like me where a player that you really want isn't available to you right now because of your thoughts of him having affected game time, then I think the 0.5 million, for example, is actually a really good option. So on that, if you have pre-planned moves in advance, I think it's a good move. The one thing you need to be worried about, someone like Perisic, I'm not anticipating to rise in price because I'm expecting him not to get good game time. Trippier, if he falls in price, the 0.5 million becomes irrelevant. If your player you're targeting rises in price, the 0.5 becomes irrelevant because you can't get to him. So you need to remember that with your price changes. Kulusevski, I really do like Kulusevski for game week 1. Long term, I want to be buying an 8 million midfielder with the anticipation of holding him for 8 game weeks. If Kulusevski holds his spot in the team, he could be that man. But of all the 8 millions, I see him being the most rotational risk because, of course, Richarlison waiting in the wings to steal some game time away from him. What do I think about 2 8 million midfielders? I think there is definitely a strategy out there to go for that option. Personally, I haven't found it. I like the investment in the defence. I like the investment in the forwards that I've got. Therefore, the structure just doesn't accommodate having 2 8 million midfielders. But I absolutely think there is a strategy out there to go for it. And then guys, please do drop a like if you are enjoying the live stream. We always try and get 50 likes before the end of the live stream. I see we're halfway there already. If you can get us to 50 likes in the next 30 seconds, imagine that. That'll be unbelievable. There's 130 of you in the chat. Easily done. That'll be massively appreciated to kick off this new season. Is it important having a bit of... Okay, we covered that one. Ramsdale, Bailey, or Ward and Trippier. Based on that, I would go for Ramsdale and Bailey personally. Hey, all, don't forget Mitrovic for Fulham always scores. He does in the Championship, but it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on in the Premier League. Personally, I think it's worth just waiting to see how he does get on in the Premier League and how importantly Fulham get on and adapt in the Premier League. Then we can see if he is a FPL option or not. We know because of him being such a talisman in that team, if Fulham score goals, he's involved. Absolutely. Castagno, Justin, Chris... Justin has been ruled out for about 6 months, so that's probably going to make your decision a little bit easier if you were bullish on Castagno as an option. And Zach saying Neto or Bailey, who to start and who to bench? Well, I had this conversation recently. First and foremost, the deliberation about Neto and Bailey. They are very much, when you're building drafts, I can almost guarantee you that they're turning out to be the 10th or 11th pick in your starting 11. And that's because of an available budget in your team. So with me, for example, the priorities. I want to get that goalkeeper in. I want to get the premium defenders. I obviously want Salah, Diaz, Martinelli locks in for my team. Jesus, Haaland. What you'll find then is you end up with a little bit of cash remaining. And that will be 0.5 million, 5.5 million or 5 million. That is usually going to dictate what route you go. The reason I like Neto is a few reasons. First and foremost, fixtures are great for Wolves. Secondly, the guy's a baller. The guy's a baller. I know he had a long-term injury, but before that injury, he's posting very good underlying stats, and I think he could represent amazing value at 5.5 million. And last up, I always like going for the more expensive option because if he flops, you can easily go down to the one that is running away with it. So in this example, if you go Bailey with no money in the bank, Aston Villa play 2 up top and he doesn't get game time, you are going to really struggle to go to Neto if he really does live up to the hype. Whereas if you go Neto and he flops, you can go down to Bailey's. That's my thought process on it. But again, if you are bullish on Bailey, go for him. Stick to that gut instinct of yours. If the game crashes, you're not locked in, you are trouble. Yes, guys, I highly recommend you 15 minutes before getting your teams locked into place. Just in case the game, this is going to be one of the busiest days on the FPL app and on the website. So if ever was a time for it to crash, it is going to be today. So make sure you get them locked in now. Then start to play around with your draft and get it saved at least 15 minutes before, just so you have it locked in. Okay, guys, so that is a bit of a chat on my team. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about my team. As I mentioned, I have 0.5 million in the bank, and there could be a mad panic in the last 15 if I decide to change it. The only things that I will change in this team is going to be the goalkeeper and Trippier situation. Few options for me. First up, upgrading Trippier to Diaz and downgrading Ramsdale to Sanchez and having the rotation. Or the other option is just simply upgrading Ramsdale to Edison, getting that double up in the Man City defence, and then having little flexibility in the team. So right now, that is the deliberation. I just like the flexibility that I'm giving myself right now because I can upgrade Ramsdale to Edison if I choose to, and I can upgrade Trippier to a 5.5 million as well later down the line. And because of that, I think I'm locked in. And guys, you're absolutely teasing me right now. We had 49 likes. We've just hit 50. Thank you very much for 50 likes. One day I will tell you to get to 100, but 50 is absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much for 50 likes on this live stream. Okay, guys. I see we have a lot of questions here that I'm covering through, which is good to see. A lot of similar stuff. Zach saying, especially with Leno gone, he seems a great option, to be fair. Again, Fulham, I could just see them conceding plenty of goals. I think they're starting with Ream at centre-back, which is a little bit worrying for them. So that is a reason why I think I'm not going to be looking at Leno anytime soon as a Fulham goalkeeper. And Chime saying, this is less than 100 million in value. Yes, as I mentioned, I have 0.5 million in the bank with this team, with the flexibility of upgrading Trippier to Perisic in game week 3 if that opportunity does arise. And with that sort of strategy, again, if I have the luxury of rolling my free transfer in game week 2, I'm then going to come into game week 3 with 0.5 million in the bank and 2 free transfers, which is going to open so many avenues for me later down the line. So because of that, I think flexibility is important in FPL. And because of that, I think I'm going to stick to that strategy. And as I mentioned, because of Trippier's fixtures, let me just get them up a minute so I have them in front of me. Because with Trippier, I'm not looking at him, it's very important to say, as a long-term option. At home against Nottingham Forest, I think is a brilliant fixture for Newcastle. I think it's going to be absolutely rocking at St James's Park. And I anticipate Newcastle get a positive result there. And what I like about Trippier, he's on all set pieces and he's a real attacking asset in that Newcastle team. What Newcastle do very interestingly in pre-season, it's worth noting, is very similar to what Arsenal do. They have very much a dominance on that right-hand side. You will find Target naturally tuck in and create a back three at times and give the license of Trippier to get forward. That's enough for me to invest 5 million in him. Now, Kyle Walker, I absolutely love Kyle Walker as a 5 million option. I don't think he's getting talked about enough. Reason I don't like it. West Ham's tricky. West Ham's a tricky game. And the other reason being is I don't know what triple up I want in Man City right now. Now, if I go for the Walker option, I'll kind of tie myself down to the double Man City single forward strategy. I want the option of maybe going into the midfielders with the likes of Mahrez and Foden. If we get an injury to Grealish, let's say Grealish gets injured, Foden is absolutely locked in for game time alongside Mahrez. That opens up an unbelievable opportunity for us. But if I'm stuck there with Cancelo and Walker in defence, flexibility is out the window there for me. So on that premise, I think Trippier is the one for me. Cash, I think, is a great option as well. But Trippier has Brighton away in game week 2. Brighton, are they absolutely clear of Newcastle? No, I don't think so. And are they free scoring team? No, I don't think so either. So I think Trippier is a great option. Then we get to Man United, then we get to Wolves, then we get to Liverpool. So in my mind, Trippier is in for 2 game weeks. Then I'm looking to bring in Perisic, or if I can have 2 free transfers, float about a little bit and go for different options in the team. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, guys. I'm probably massively overthinking it right now, but I think I'm happy with this team. I think I am. Right, players that I'm not happy to have. Let's cover that right now with a little bit of a chat on 4 players that I am going to be hiding behind a sofa for ahead of game week 1. Right, so these 4, I'm sweating, guys, honestly, about not having them. It is absolutely killer. Let me know in the chat. Let me know the top 3 players that you don't have in your squad that you are honestly not going to sleep at night having. Because these 4 are for me. Kevin De Bruyne. I would love to have Kevin De Bruyne. I absolutely think that there is a potential there to go without Haaland and go for the proven asset in Kevin De Bruyne. But for me right now, I think having a premium forward is essential to flirt between Haaland and Kane. If I go for Kevin De Bruyne and Salah in midfield, I don't like the structure of having a premium forward as well. So Kevin De Bruyne is off the table as we speak. But look at those stats. It's absolutely disgusting. This is per 90 minutes. 0.61 goals per 90. Expected goals, okay, yes, there is a big discrepancy there, which is natural when you're posting underlying stats like that. Expected assist 0.42. That is what I love to see about Kevin De Bruyne because he's such a chance creation monster. And 8 FPL points per 90. I need to stop reading that because he's going to make me want to bring him in. Kane, underlying stats, fantastic. We've got this over the course of the season, but interestingly, his time under Conte did slightly improve. Not drastically enough to think, oh, he's absolutely running away with it under Conte, but I see him actually improving. And the big thing about this here as well, which is really interesting, Harry Kane historically is a world-class finisher. So naturally, he does over-deliver on his underlying stats. You can see here, expected goals per 90, 0.53, and actual goals, 0.47, which is really interesting to see there and makes it very, very nerve-wracking seeing having him not in my team because if he does rekindle that goal-scoring touch, then this could be a 30-goal season for Kane. And we could argue that we could just hold him throughout the tough fixtures like he has in game week 2. So Kane sweating about massively. Bailey, 5 million. I've touched on him. I'm not sweating too much, and the reason being is because I've given myself an avenue to go to him if it does emerge that he is an option. At 5 million, as I said, I could go for him over Neto. Then I could look to have Bailey and 1 million in the bank, and then I could upgrade Trippier to Diaz and have that money invested, which, you know, is definitely a consideration. But right now, Bailey, I'm just a little bit worried about the game time as we speak. So on that basis, I'm happy to roll without. But if he does find that preseason form and delivers it in this season, we have a player. We have a player on our hands. Last up, Robertson. Now, main reason being I'm not going for Robertson is because I'm naturally opting for the Diaz route in midfield. 0.6 clean sheets per 90. Expected clean sheets 0.52. These are unbelievable underlying stats. Naturally, the clean sheets department is going to be the same for Trent. And that's why I think Trent is the better option. But when you read these stats like this, very, very difficult to ignore Robertson. And people in the chat, let me know. Are you going for the Robertson route or not with the double defence? I think he's still a phenomenal option. So guys, let me get back in the chat because I know it is a deadline stream and we need to discuss your questions. Absolutely your questions. Thoughts from Callum Wilson for game week 1. I think he's a brilliant short-term option. I think you could have him for 2 and then sell him if you want to. Can you go without Jesus? That's the big question because at 0.5 million more, I would much rather go for Jesus. James Bailey, Saka and Robertson. Sorry, James Bailey and Saka or Robertson, Martinelli and Neto. Of that combination, I think I would go for... Wow, that is an incredibly tough combination there. Look, I am all about the 8 million midfielder strategy. So because of that, I would go for the first option. I've got Neto, but why has he got a lot of hype? It's a very, very good point. And it's very similar about Bailey as well. Bailey was injured all of last season, pretty much the same as Neto, but there's a lot of hype about Bailey as well. Both have had very, very strong pre-seasons. Both have good opening fixtures. Both are playing in attacking positions. Both really good value. I think both could be brilliant. Neto, why I'm opting for him, mainly is because I can come down to Bailey if Neto doesn't deliver, which I am expecting him to. Tom's in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Why Trippier and not Zinchenko? Mainly because I want to go for Ramsdale in goal. And Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko is a better option in terms of the clean sheet potential. But from an attacking perspective, I think I prefer Trippier. Set pieces, we have to remember, is massive in the game. Absolutely massive. Jesus, Sterling or Haaland and Martinelli? Oh, Haaland and Martinelli, but I'll be scared to go without Gabriel Jesus. Amriel, hope you're doing well, buddy. Hi, Nacho. Son or KDB? It's got to be Son. It's got to be Son for me. Very, very tough, though. Wait, James. Justin is injured. Yes, James Justin, I believe, did have... No. Rewind that. Absolutely delete what I said. Guys, if you heard about Justin being out from my lips, delete it. I apologise. I've got that absolutely wrong. It's been a long day of fantasy football content. Delete what I said. Ricardo Pereira is the one that is out for 6 months. Who did I tell that to? Everybody. And Giannis in particular, I do apologise. I've just made you probably have the biggest sweat ever. Ricardo Pereira is the one that is injured. James Justin isn't injured. And therefore, I think that probably does enhance James Justin as an option. So yes, I do apologise. It was Ricardo Pereira. They have so many fullbacks in that department. I do apologise for that one. Patterson or Nico Williams, assuming I plan to rotate with Trippier. Okay, so I'm not sure about how the fixtures rotate with one another. I personally am on Nico Williams just because I see no competition for him and he is being deployed as a right wing back. With Nathan Patterson, Coleman is back in training. If Frank Lampard has a tough start to the season and he's looking to fall back on those experienced players, then we could be looking at Coleman getting a run of games just to kind of like solidify that defence from his experience. And that's the reason why I'm fancying Nico Williams over him. Is Kane the best captain option other than Salah? Literally 2 minutes, we're going to come on to the projected points, which hopefully will help you guys out in some of your deliberations. Jose Sa over Ramsdale? No, I think I prefer Ramsdale personally. Kyle Walker, anyone? Yes, I do think Kyle Walker is a good option. The big thing about it is going for the triple Man City, you need to know that you're kind of blocking yourself with the midfield. And I don't know whether I want the midfield yet or not. So that's just one thing worth noting if you are considering going for a Man City triple up. Are you blocking yourself out of going for the midfielders? If they do emerge as phenomenal options, it is worth noting. That could be a problem later down the line. So guys, I'm just quickly checking out any other thoughts here. Because as I mentioned, I do like the Walker option, but then of course we are blocking ourselves out. I'm just thinking whether I do want to go for him or not. Thoughts. We'll have a think, guys, because that's something I definitely will consider later down the line. Sorry, guys, I'm just making sure I've got my team locked in because, of course, imagine that if I'm on the chat right now and I'm in serious trouble. Give me a second, guys. Okay, right, back in the chat, guys. Apologies for that. Is Johnson a good option? Yes, I think Johnson is the best Nottingham Forest forward option. Absolutely. Rashford or Martinelli? Martinelli every day of the week. Save yourself 0.5 million in the bank. Neto or Bailey? We covered that one in quite detail. So I'll maybe rewind this 15 minutes and check out what I mentioned there. Sprite saying not having Son or Kane with an upside down face. Yes, I absolutely hate not having them right now in my team. It is killer. Edison or Ramsdale? I'm so confused. It's all about what that 0.5 does for your team. I'm personally going for Ramsdale because I think the 0.5 could be really handy to have to upgrade Trippier later down the line to Perisic. But again, you need to know what that is doing for your team. Is that 0.5 going to benefit it or not? A Tottenham defender like Romero who's 100% guaranteed? No, not an FPL option, unfortunately. Somebody I wouldn't be considering. Right, guys, we have a lot of chat about certain players, and because of that, I'm going to drop it onto our projected points for Game Week 1, as that might answer a few questions for you and, you know, help you out with captaincy as well. So here are the Fantasy Football Fix projected points for Game Week 1 in isolation. Okay, guys, so here we have it here. Now, remember, this is an ever-changing projected points because it is updated so regularly, which is great about it because it keeps up to date with all the information. So if you are a premium member, make sure you head over to fantasyfootballfix.com to check out our projected points section because this is an ever-changing model. Same goes for a lot of the tools that I am showing you guys. If you can, make sure you do check out after this live stream or during the live stream our premium membership. It is fantastic. It offers so much to you guys and it helped me finish 270th in the world. You know, guys, I always have to drop that in there. It's just the absolute peak of my life. Right, next up. Popey, not having Son Robertson worries me. Absolutely worries me as well. But unfortunately, we just can't have everyone in the game. And I do think that sometimes you have to make sacrifices and know that the combinations that you're going for could outmatch the singular player that you're not having. Okay, I've absolutely lost it here. Okay, here we go. We got the chat back. Is Rodrigo too much of a risk? Yes, I think it is too much of a risk. I know he scored a hat-trick in pre-season. That's naturally going to entice some people for ownership. But no, guys, I don't think Rodrigo is an option. Right, predicted points. Goalkeepers. Alisson, top of the tree at 5 projected points. Mendy, Meslier, Martinez and Ramsdale at 3.9. So for those that are considering Alisson, he is the best option for Game Week 1. But obviously, you know my thoughts, guys, on Liverpool. You cannot be buying a goalkeeper from Liverpool because the outfield options pose so much potential. You're blocking yourself up from a third Liverpool slot. Mendy, 4.3 projected points. The reason I'm not going for him, I'm a little bit worried about the way that Chelsea are going to gel at the opening game weeks. I like James because he offers attacking potential. If that defence isn't, watertight at the start, that is going to rule out any Mendy clean sheets, which is naturally going to hinder his points total. Meslier, like him at 4.5 million, probably one of the best 4.5 million options available. I just don't know about that Leeds defence. I could see them being very leaky. If you had to bet on a guy to keep the most saves, I think Meslier is going to make a lot of saves this season. Martinez, someone not speaking about a lot of 4.1 projected points. Just prefer Ramsdale personally, and I know he's below him on the projected points, but over the course of 6 game weeks, because remember, goalkeepers, you don't want to be making transfers. Once you've got them in your team, you basically want to keep them as long as possible. Ramsdale outscores Martinez over the longer term. Defenders, absolutely no surprise who's top of the tree here. Trent and Robertson, 5.6 and 5.2 respectively. And really kind of summing up why managers are going for the double up in game week 1. James at 5, Matip and Van Dijk at 4.8 apiece. I wouldn't be considering Matip at 6 million. He isn't in consideration. If he was 4.5 million, then he is absolutely on the agenda, but he's overpriced, unfortunately, this season. And Van Dijk, there always is a time for Van Dijk. There will be a time when we reach double game week and Van Dijk's all in our teams scoring a bullet header, but for now, he isn't a consideration. And you've probably got your eyes casted to the midfielder section right now, and probably sweating if you're on Diaz, because Robertson right now isn't on the list, which is a little bit worrying for Diaz owners, and obviously I am one of those. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to give you a quick update on the projected points for Diaz. We're going to give you a nice live update so that you can keep that to yourselves. And again, you can always check this out on the premium membership over on fantasyfootballfix.com. Right, projected points for Diaz. Let's get that up right now. Okay, projected points for Diaz, 4.6 in game week 1. So a little bit less than Robertson, but it's worth noting that over the longer term, Diaz is looking like he is coming out on top over Robertson. So, longer term perspective, don't rule yourself out just because of one game week. Look at it over a longer term perspective. Don't be too narrow in your vision. Midfielders, Son. So if you are in a strategy where you have Son and Salah in your team, based on our projected points, Son is the man to go for. I think the effective ownership of Salah is going to be monstrous. So if you want to go for the safe option, I think Salah is the route to go. And 6.3 projected points is brilliant. And we know that he is a beast against promoted sides. So absolutely think Salah is a brilliant pick. But Son, if you have both, is the favourable one right now. Then we have Kevin De Bruyne, Kulusevski and Maddison coming out on the projected points. Last up forward, you can see it there. Kane is projected to outscore Haaland by nearly 1 point, which is massive. But again, we need to have a bit of a longer scope. Now, if you are on the strategy of going for Kane in game week 1, Haaland game week 2, then this is delightful viewing for you because Kane is out in front. Now, you guys know it's not a strategy that I'm too keen on. I don't like banking transfers in game week after game week. But if you are on this strategy, this is happy reading, and hopefully it's making you not sweat as much in the chat right now if you are considering it, because our algorithm does back it for game week 1. Vardy 5.4 is going to get overlooked, but he's a fantastic option. And then Darwin at 4.7. Let me know in the chat, guys, is anyone brave enough to go with Darwin? I am not. But honestly, guys, he could be an absolute steal at 9 million. I just think the structure's too difficult to get him in. And guys, I can see we've got 200 of us in the chat. Can we get 100 likes? Can we get 100 likes in the next 30 seconds? Not 100, now. 100. So I need 17 more likes to get us to 100, guys. That would be absolutely monstrous. I would massively appreciate it. Right. You guys have been sitting enough in the chat. Let us have a little chat about your questions. Let's get going. Right. How is Dallo looking? Dallo, based on the projected points, is... Let me get it up for you. Okay, guys, it's not good when you're having to scroll a lot for Dallo. Okay, I can't see Dallo, which is a little bit worrying, guys. Hang on a second. Give me a second. Dallo, 2.5. Not good. Not good projected points at all for Dallo. Right, what do I think about Cucurella? Fantastic signing for Chelsea. It is going to massively help Chilwell as an asset because he's going to have someone like Cucurella operating as a left-sided centre-back. big worry about Chilwell. We know Cucurella could easily play as a left wing back, which could displace him if Chilwell does have future niggles off the back of that big injury that he did have. But what an upgrade that is for Chelsea in terms of Cucurella. He is going to replace the likes of Emerson, who was stepping in at time to time, and Malang Sarr. That is a big, big signing for them. And I do think that makes him now a lot more steady in terms of defensively. The guy is a joke. I've seen a lot of clips of him. I've watched games of him playing as a left-sided centre-back. He had some of his best games playing there, and he was a brilliant option. What do I think about Dewsbury Hall? Massively, massively underlooked. I really do think that he is a brilliant option at 5 million, and he's going to get guaranteed game time. So if you're worried about Bailey, I think Dewsbury Hall is a great option. Just I don't think he's going to get the attacking output that Bailey could potentially have. Is Jesus, Saka and Martinelli triple up too risky? No, I've seen it a lot, and I really do like it because I think Saka is one of the best 8 millions. And Arsenal look very, very good in pre-season. So no, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing there. Bikes, I'm having coffee about whether to go for Kane or Haaland. What do you think with the price rises? Won't Haaland be locked till game week 2? Oh, you've put me on the spot there. But the thing about Haaland, which you don't have to worry about Haaland because I believe that he is the later kickoff, but I need to confirm that. But based on price rises, I just don't really think you're in too much of a worry there. I will confirm for you though. If Tom's in the chat, maybe he could help us out on that one. That'd be really helpful. Even Nacho is back. Can't decide on a keeper. Have 5.5, 3 Arsenal and 3 Liverpool defenders. Edison. I think if you're happy to spend 5.5, you go for Edison and you lock it in. I think that's a good shout. Mahrez/Rashford. I'm not big on either. I think Diaz is the one to go for if you can reach that far. Will Perisic play? Personally, he's out of my draft. And the main reason being is because I'm a little bit worried about his game time because of the lack of clarity from Conte in his press conference. So based on that, I just don't think he's the one I'm going for. Hi mate, Bailey and Ramsdale or Neto and Sanchez. Basically, is Neto a better pick than Bailey? And if so, is he worth the extra 0.5? Bailey and Ramsdale, Neto and Sanchez. I like Bailey and Ramsdale if you're happy to go with Bailey of that combination there. Luis Diaz or Neto, anyone? Well, I think Luis Diaz definitely gets the win there, Dazzy Gaming, but it's all about whether you can afford that or not. Ruben Diaz, what do you think? Absolutely like Ruben Diaz as a pick. I think he's a fantastic option if you're happy to spend 6 million on the defence. If you are, I think that's a brilliant pick. Is Patterson a guaranteed game time? I think Patterson starts the first 2. Then when Coleman's up to speed game time wise, then I think we need to worry about Patterson's game time because as I mentioned, if Everton have a tough start, Lampard might fall back on those players that know how to get the business done in the tough times. So Coleman might step in that period. And guys, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop my draft on the screen for those that have joined recently. You could check out my team. I'm actually weirdly not sweating too much. Usually I'm kind of running around the room right now panicking about my team, but I feel like I've almost convinced myself that this is the team I want to go for. Just to kind of reiterate thoughts of my team, I'm pretty locked on every spot apart from Ramsdale and Trippier, and it's just because of the combinations that I can go for. Now remember, there's 0.5 million in the bank for this team, so I could just naturally go straight to Edison, get him in the sticks, but I think Ramsdale's a nice pick, and I think Trippier's a nice pick for the 2, with an anticipation of bringing in Perisic in game week 3 or 4. So, guys, I'm not even sweating. I don't know what's going on right now. I feel quite good, actually. Right, let's keep going. Salah, Rashford, Rodrigo, Grealish, midfield, brave or stupid? Hey, I'm never going to call anybody stupid on this chat, but... no, I'm joking. I think Rodrigo and Grealish are too risky, personally. I think that's too risky. I would much rather go for Martinelli. Absolutely go for Martinelli. Cheeks, how are we doing well, buddy? Tom, the question was about Haaland's situation. Is his price going to be locked or not? Because he is a new signing. Let me know, mate. It could be something that I've completely overlooked or I've completely made up. So let me know, buddy, if you do know that answer. Paul, Cash or Trippier? As you can see on the screen right now, I have opted for Trippier, but I do think Cash is a good option as well. Rick, I like Bruno Guimaraes. The new Rafinha, thoughts? I think Bruno Guimaraes is a good option. However, injury to Shelvey means that he might be deployed as a deep line midfielder to dictate the play. If that does happen, then I think that doesn't necessarily make him a good FPL option. I prefer Martinelli personally because at 6 million, you know what you're getting. An injury to Smith Rowe means he's definitely starting on the left side of a front three. Means that he's going to be a brilliant option in those opening game weeks where they have such fantastic fixtures. So Martinelli for me is the one. Walker and Sterling or Cancelo and Kulusevski. I'd probably flip it and say maybe can you go Kulusevski and Diaz or Saka? I think that's the route I would go for. Grealish and Robertson or Diaz and Perisic. Well, Perisic, we're a little bit worried about the game time now. It's worth noting. So I wouldn't have Perisic in the consideration. So based on that, I've absolutely lost your question. Grealish and Robertson or Diaz and Perisic. I would say you can use Diaz and Trippier maybe as an option. Punt Grealish or Foden. If you're going to punt, you go punting on Foden, I think. 8 million, you can drop down to other players then. If you go Grealish, you're stuck at 7 million. And if you've gone really wrong, then you're going to really struggle to go anywhere from that price point. What's your take on having Ramsdale as a set and forget goalkeeper? I think he's a brilliant option. I think Arsenal defensively are looking good. I think Ramsdale, he had a bit of a controversial time last season. His underlying stats weren't solid, but I think he's a really nice one at 5 million. I think Arsenal are going to be contending this year. Defensively, I think they'll be a lot more solid. So yes, I do like them as an option. Tom's put a comment in. We don't know regarding RE price lock, but we should be able to tell in the first week. We'll let you know on social media when we know for sure. Yeah, guys. So basically, we will understand in the opening game weeks what FPL have done with Haaland. The one thing I would say, guys, is first and foremost, make sure you do download the Fantasy Football Fix app. You can check out our free price change predictor, which will give you the information on there. And naturally, we will update you regularly on our app, on our social media platforms, with whatever is going with the price change. You guys know the Fantasy Football Fix are the leaders for price change predictors. We are definitely the place to go if you are worried about any potential overnight price changes. And importantly, which is very important, is that they are crazy at the start of the season. Honestly, guys, price changes are ridiculous at the start. So if you haven't already, make sure you do download the app. Get the notifications set, because what you can do, you can customize them. So the players that you have, you know whether they are rising or falling in price. Something that I do all the time, and it's one of the absolute top tips that I could provide for you guys. Opinions on Johnson? Yes, I think he's a good pick, but I don't think he's essential at all right now. I want to see what Nottingham Forest are actually going to do. Haaland or Kane? I'm opting for Haaland right now. The main reason being, and again, I think both are phenomenal options. If you're going for the Kane to Haaland strategy, I don't mind it. But personally, I think it's so powerful having 2 free transfers if you have the luxury in game week 3. So on that basis, I think I'm just going to go for Haaland and stick with it. Is Ward and Iverson a risk? Well, it sounds like Ward could potentially be number 1, Iverson an understudy or vice versa. So on that premise, I don't think it's risky at all. Obviously, the problem with it, transfer window doesn't end until the 4th game week, I believe. So there is a risk that potentially if a deal comes up, they might bring someone else into the team. But otherwise, I think it's a good strategy otherwise. And guys, we have 15 minutes until the deadline. So if you haven't locked in your teams already, please do stay on the live stream. Feel free to stay on the live stream, but just make sure you do get them teams absolutely locked in, because I don't want to be the guy where you are coming over and saying, Nacho, I forgot to lock in my team because you forgot to bloody tell me to. So I'm just trying to give you an update now, guys. Make sure you get your teams locked in so you're not forgetting about it. I'm just doing that right now. I'm just double checking myself so I'm not getting into any trouble at all. No, my team's locked in, guys. And as I mentioned, I'm pretty happy with the team that I have. So as we speak, I'm pretty keen on my team as we are going into the last 15 minutes. I'm just making sure I've not forgotten anything on here. Apologies, guys. Right, let's get to it. Last 15 minutes, guys. Martinelli plays too far away for me. Interesting, but I think he's a brilliant pick. FPL Matty. Hi, FPL Nacho. I'm in the same way. I'm not sweating either. I think I'm doing that over the past couple of months since the game been launched, trying to figure out what my squad is. All the best. Let's go. All the best, buddy. Thoughts on Arsenal triple attack? I absolutely think there is a strategy for it. I think there could be really good value. They're ridiculously underpriced, all of them. So yes, if you want to go triple up, I have no problems with it. Ash saying, would you swap James for Trippier? If you could afford James, yes, I would bring him in. If you're looking to do Trippier instead of James, no, I would keep James in your team. Doherty, I think there's a little bit of worry about game time. So on that premise, I'm going to say probably avoid and just get a bit more of an understanding. I have quite similar team, especially bench and same. Now this bench, does you think risky in terms of rotation? No, I think the bench is good. I think Nico Williams and Andreas Pereira get solid game time, and that's enough for me to have first and second bench there. Rachel, best 4.5 million forward and why? So I'm going for Archer. I don't think there's any forward that's emerged as a guaranteed starter. So because of that, I think Archer is just the pick of the bunch. Signed a new long-term contract. Clearly Villa see him as a future player for them. So that can only mean good things. My worry is Ings is still in the team. So because of that, naturally think that Archer is going to be third or fourth choice. But, you know, we're just looking for a few minutes here and there from him just to help us out in those dark, dark days where we have players that don't play. Arthur, downgrade James Zinchenko, 5 million defender, upgrade elsewhere. Arthur, it's going to be all about what you upgrade elsewhere. Otherwise, I think just keep James in your team. Benjamin, what are the chances of Almiron starting games for Newcastle season? Bloke's been on absolute fire in pre-season. So I would say, if he's not, I'll be knocking on that door saying, what else can I do? Come on, I've been scoring goals. I've been doing well. I should be starting. So yes, I think he will start. Is he an FPL option for me? No, I don't think so. Just making sure I am not skipping any questions, guys. I'm trying to do my best to answer all of them as I can. What are the chat? I've covered that one. Great content. Best 4.5 defender to start. Thank you very much, Danny. Defender. This is my worry right now. I don't see any massively emerging right now. Now, based on the opening 6 fixtures, what I will do for you is I will check out the best 4.5 million defender for the opening 6 game weeks just to help you out here, because I think longer term we need to get a bit more of an idea. Actually, let's do the opening 5 game weeks, and we're going to be looking at, and again guys, this is all on Fantasy Football Fix, so make sure you do sign up to the premium membership, get access to this. 8 Nori is clearly the best 4.5, but just question marks about game time. That is all there. Where's Spurs? I wish I had Spurs. I'm sweating not having Spurs, but unfortunately I just can't squeeze them into my team right now. Ash saying about Dallo. Yes, I think Dallo is a good option. I think he will emerge as a brilliant 4.5. I just need to see a little bit from Man United first and foremost, how they are going to be as a team. Vardy about to pop hat-trick this game week. Hey, if you're looking for differentials, Jamie Vardy is one of the ultimate ones. Historically, he starts so fast. So on that, I think he's a brilliant option. Why Haaland over Kane when Kane has more predicted points in game week 1 and also in the first 4 games? It's a really good point, and I don't actually know if Kane has got more predicted points in the opening 4 games. Let's have a look a minute. Opening 4 game weeks. Let's have a look at the forwards a minute. Because I'm going to question that one. And if it is, I'm sweating now. Don't want to get me sweating. No. Haaland is 5 points clear in predicted points over the opening 5 game weeks. It's worth noting. I'm looking a bit more further ahead. No, in the opening 4 is 5 points clear. So the reason I'm going for, yes, I think Kane is better in game week 1. The reason I'm not going for it is because I think a free transfer is so powerful. Going Kane to Haaland for just 1 game week. And we have to remember, this Haaland isn't a bum. He's one of the best Premier League forwards. He could easily match Kane, or if not, outscore him. And then you're just doing the transfer that you were already planning on to Haaland. So because of that, I'm just going to go on Haaland from the start. Zach, who's the best 5 million goalie? Right now I'm ranking him as Ramsdale 1. Then I'm going to have Mendy 2. And then I'm going to have Martinez 3. Sorry, guys. I've got the most uncomfortable chair on the planet. I need to invest in one. Most content creators keep going back and forth between Haaland and Kane. Most seem to have Haaland now, but 2-3 years ago, everybody had Kane. Did anything change that made people choose Haaland? I think it's just because penciling in transfers can be problematic, because let's say game week 1 ends. You've got Kane. You want to do Kane to Haaland, and James does a terrible injury, and then you have to sell him. You're then doing a points hit to get rid of Kane to Haaland. Then you question yourself, is it really worth it? Perisic, no, I'm not playing him because I'm worried about his game time because of the recent comments of Conte. Ramsdale, Cancelo, Trent, James, Martinelli, Salah, Coutinho, Bailey, Jesus, Wilson, Vardy. I like it. My worry is the lack of 11.5 million forward. That's the only worry I have there. Ash, thank you, buddy, for the question. Jim, want to punt on Sterling, but would have to have Walker over Cancelo. Thoughts? No. Cancelo is the man. I think Cancelo, you just go for him. I'm planning to go with Coutinho and Bailey in the mid. Yay or nay? I wouldn't go double Aston Villa. I think Bailey's the one. Avoid Coutinho personally. Yes, he could have good game weeks. Long term, I don't like him. What do you think of Mount? I think Mount's flying under the radar massively. Chelsea absolutely look to him. Is that going to change? Potentially with Sterling in the side. But this guy is one of Tuchel's golden childs. He's going to get guaranteed game time. I think he's a brilliant pick. I have Saka and Diaz above him, though. It is worth noting. Have you kept 0.5 million? Yes, Seb. 0.5 million is in the bank for this team for flexibility. As I mentioned, you need to really monitor price changes. But my anticipation is that I could hold Trippier for 2 and then move to somebody like Perisic when we get an understanding on his actual game time. How much is premium? People are saying basically top tier of what you're looking for, really. And Tom's dropped a brilliant link there about trialing out the 7-day free trial, which I massively recommend you guys doing. Absolute, it's a win-win situation. You get it for the opening week between game week 1 and 2, which is amazing because then you can use it, get the best out of it, and then if you love it, amazing, crack on, get the membership. Otherwise, you've had an opportunity to check out Fantasy Football Fix. It's basically a win-win, guys. So I massively encourage you to check it out. Link is in the comments from Tom. The FPL Irishman. Hi mate, hope you're doing well, buddy. All the best this game week. Chim, Jesus may be out according to FPL Boona. Okay, Chim. One thing in life you need to learn. FPL Boona is the biggest wind-up on the planet. He won't mind me saying that because the guy absolutely loves it. He's a wind-up merchant and it is brilliant for the game. But sometimes it can be a little bit controversial, and you will see there that he has created an account and basically faked it. So yeah, it's definitely not it's not true at all there on that basis. So guys, I was checking out a few more information here on what I am thinking, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with my team. I'm pretty keen. I'm just going to lock it in, guys. It's absolutely locked in. Guys, 7 minutes to the deadline. Please do get your teams locked in. You need to make sure they are. Like right now, the game's just taking so long to load. I think people are just flying in. So this is my team on screen, guys. I can confirm it. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to be that guy. I've got Salah as captain, Haaland as vice, Jesus, and then I've got a bench of Nico Williams, Andreas, Archer, Ward on the bench. Done and dusted. Finito. Now it's time to answer the rest of your questions. Don't let me go back on my phone, guys, because I will end up changing it, no doubt. Right. Kulusevski for 1 week punt. No, I wouldn't do it personally. I don't think it's worth it for a 1 week punt. Trippier versus Perisic. I would go Trippier because I think Perisic's game time is a little bit at risk. Patterson and Nico Williams, assuming I plan to rotate with Trippier. I'm not sure about the best fixture rotation there, so you might have to check them out and do a bit of manual work. I do apologise. But my worry about Patterson is when Coleman's back, there could be a chance of rotation that's worth noting. Ward, Robertson, James, Perisic. Okay, so you've got Perisic in your team. Just be cautious that there is a chance of rotation there. Raya, Martinez. I wouldn't have Martinez in your team either. I don't think it's worth bringing that in. I think you could look elsewhere in that investment. Martinelli and Bernardo or Saka and Bailey. Neto absolutely would go for Saka and Bailey / Neto. Martinelli and Bernardo. Bernardo isn't an FPL option to consider. He just really isn't. He has his moments, but no, not good really at all. Trippier versus Perisic. I've covered that one. Zinchenko and Luis Diaz or Trent and Bailey. It's got to be Trent and Bailey. I'm sorry, but Trent I view as one of the absolute essentials in the game. Ramsdale, Trent, James, Cancelo, Cash, Salah, Martinelli, Neto, Grealish, Kane. Hey, absolutely no problems with that. Solid team. I think Grealish, you probably know, is the risky one of the pick. That's all. Trippier or Walker, I've opted for Trippier, that's all. Martinelli or Rashford, Martinelli, and save yourself 0.5 million in the bank. Mount and Robertson or James and Grealish, I would go for Mount and Robertson in that combination. Man United midfielder or Aston Villa, I'd probably go Bailey and save yourself some cash. Rashford or St. Maximin, I would go for Rashford. Imagine Cucurella getting a hat-trick. That would be unbelievable to see. I think Cucurella could emerge as an option for us later on in the season, but not right now. Abinesh, I think I've covered your team, so hopefully that helped you out. Again, guys, I'm going to give you an audacious claim. If you can get us to 150 likes, that'll be massively appreciated. What a way to kick off the season. If you guys can get us to 150 likes, that will be unbelievable. Thank you very much. Walker, Trippier or Perisic, I would rank them right now. And again, if it was all of them are starting, I would have Perisic 1, Trippier 2, Walker 3. Walker and Trippier on the same plane. But because I personally are worried about Perisic's minutes, I would have him bottom, and I would have Trippier first, Walker second, Perisic third. But again, you need to read into the minutes how you will. Ramsey or Edison? I'm not sure about that. Ramsey or Edison? I'm assuming Ramsdale. And in that case, it's all team dependent. If you've got 0.5 million available, then naturally I think Edison is a better pick. Otherwise, I think going for Ramsdale is a solid option because you have funds elsewhere to invest in the rest of your team, or keep it in the bank to upgrade elsewhere. Either is your choice. Sorry, guys. I have a panic that I just haven't saved my team, but I definitely have. So let's just get away from that. Cash, Digne or Trippier? Oh, that's a really good one. I personally have Cash above Digne, but only just slightly. And I think the our algorithm just has Cash above him. Trippier, I would have just above those two for the opening 2 fixtures. Thoughts on Grealish? A little bit worried about Grealish's game time. That's all. Rick Roll. Have a great year, Nacho. I appreciate all the stats and content. I'm ready. Rick, thank you very much, buddy, for tuning in. And hope you have a great season as well. Triple Arsenal attack, yes or no? Yes, I do like triple Arsenal attack. But just remember, if you do put all your eggs in one basket, just remember that if Arsenal do have a bad day at the office, then that is going to really impact your team. Martinez or Ramsdale? I'm going for Ramsdale of that combination. Guys, you've got 3 minutes. Get your teams locked in ASAP. You shouldn't be asking me any questions now. You should have your teams locked in. Kane and Haaland in one team. I like it. I don't mind it at all. Gives yourself an opportunity to think about the both. Need to keep a 5 million. Can't use Ramsdale. The next one I'd probably recommend is going to be Mendy. Mendy probably at Chelsea. Mount or Kulusevski. I would go for Mason Mount of the two. White or Dalot. I prefer White for the clean sheet potential, but I hate it, so probably Dalot. Best second 4.5 million midfielder, sub expected, except for Andreas. I think De Silva's a good option. Outside of that, I don't see much. Obviously help out guys in the chat if you can. Why not Patterson over Nico? Just because I think Patterson is at risk if Coleman does return and Everton have a really bad start to the season, which I do foresee with the injuries that they've had. Neto versus Podence argument. Podence had a really big sample size last year and the underlying stats were really, really poor. Neto was out all season last year, it's worth noting. But because Podence has such a large sample size and I still didn't see anything from it, that's why I'm going for Neto, because of the potential that he offers. Meslier or Sanchez? Depends on the rotation. If you're going for Ward as well, I would go Sanchez. If you're going for Meslier as your stick and forget, I would go Meslier. Do I buy Bailey or Trippier? Very difficult for me to answer because they're both different positions and it's going to dictate the direction your team goes. Mount or Mahrez? I would go Mount because I'm worried about the Mahrez minutes. I'm always a bit sceptical about those. So that's the only reason being. 4 million keeper double up. Yes, I like it, Sam. I think it's definitely a strategy worth considering. But again, guys, you have 1 minute until the deadline. So please do get your teams locked in. I'm stressing for you guys that you haven't got them locked in. I've checked my team 6,000 times and I'm just looking again to make sure that I am actually locked in. This is how panicky I am over this situation. Okay, we're locked in. We're locked in. Teams locked. You can't even see that. Diaz, Martinelli, Salah. Okay, yeah, we're locked in. We're locked in, guys. Don't worry about it. Mount Mahrez doesn't get yet. Good shout. Last minute, Captain Trent. You madman. Absolutely love it. But I wouldn't have done it personally, but I absolutely love the dedication to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Neto or Bailey? It's got to be Neto for me just because you've got funds in the bank. Guys, I think that's it. I actually think we've hit it. We've done it, guys. Mic drop. Done. No more deliberation. Can you feel that stress off your shoulders, guys? Honestly, I feel like a new man. Guys, just with me. Just big exhale. See that? That is it. That's a relieved man right now. And I think a lot of you have Probably got a few grey hairs off the back of this preseason. Feels good. Feels good, guys. It's a Friday as well, which is fantastic. It means you can enjoy yourself. Enjoy the evening off the back of this game week 1 deadline. I hope everyone has a good game week. Remember, guys, just before we close this off, just from an actual mindset perspective, because I know a lot of people right now do get affected from FPL. So this is a bit of serious talk right now, a bit of Nacho talk just before you go, a bit of side dip on the side. Don't let FPL get you down at all. You need to remember that you're playing a game where you cannot have any influence on the outcome. So basically, you pick players, they go out, do their business. You cannot dictate how they perform. So once you have made your decisions, the best mindset that you can have going into the season, I really recommend you taking this into the season, is remember, if you are going through a good thought process, so if you have made your transfers and you have basically said to yourself, I am happy with my decision here, it's backed by stats, it's backed by my gut, then whatever the outcome is, I am happy with what I've done. That is the mindset you need to go into this season, guys, because honestly, otherwise, you're going to find yourself getting a little bit down with FPL, and it really isn't worth it. Very easier said than done. But having that mindset of knowing that you cannot dictate the outcome is the best way to play FPL. It's something that I have had, a mantra that I've had over the last few seasons, and it's made me just completely be at one with anything that happens with fantasy football. And again, guys, it is a game. Please do not get too worried about it. And again, we are always here in the live stream to talk FPL and anything, those sort of things. Our DM's are always open, so make sure you do let us know. Put my personal ones as well, because I don't think the guys on Fantasy Football Fix will like having them all pummeled in. So I'm probably a bit better direct to send them over. So guys, remember, you cannot control the outcome. Enjoy the game. And if you are new around here and you haven't already, drop a subscribe and drop a like onto the channel, because if you haven't noticed already, we got a new sort of layout to the channel. We're really trying to double down this season. I think we've got an amazing team behind us. Content's mad this year. It's going to be daily, and we're really looking forward to delivering some great stuff for you guys. So make sure you are involved with the channel, because it's only going up this year. Thanks very much, guys. Take care. Have a brilliant game week. I hope your arrows are green, and I will see you in the next video, which is going to be Monday evening, reflecting on game week 1. I can't wait, guys. Take care. Cheers.